Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F1 2020 Driver Career Mode, the last episode for Red Bull, because from the next episode we will be driving for a new team. As you got voted for, I will reveal the winner in next week's episode. And also would sort of time this for that fix that they've put in today's patch as well, so that we can whichever team we do move, we'll be moving alongside their first driver and not their second driver. But interestingly, this is something we haven't had. I haven't seen this in the career mode for ages. Qualifying, having a wet to dry qualifying. That is something I have not seen for very long. We've seen wet to dry races, but wet to dry qualifying is something that's very rare on the F1 game these days. But nevertheless, that's what we've got in today's video, which means we'll have to go and set our lap times earlier and then literally just sit around and wait for the session. Otherwise, there will be those, of course, the game's still broken in that position. Nobody's made some upgrades though in terms of R&D. The only team that has actually made any upgrade is Alfa Romeo from the French Grand Prix to the Austrian Grand Prix. And yes, also don't forget to subscribe as well for more F1 2020 videos, especially Thursday's My Team video. That is just a banger of a race as well. But back to this race, we're into qualifying then. What can we do? This track, I know qualifying has been dreadful for us on this year's game. There's Christian Horner saying thank you and goodbye. But we have won twice here already in the 2 seasons we've already had. So can we do it or not? Bearing in mind that BOTTAS is on for 4 in a row as well, so that can be something as well. But obviously we're having to set our fastest lap earlier in the session than we'd like to, because of course the rain is coming. As you can see, the dark clouds are there, and pretty much DRS is about to be disabled in about a couple of minutes time. So yes, only a 10th up on our previous lap time. Qualifying has been dreadful for us this year. 103.1, only enough for 10th place. Yeah, it's a difficult one because it's a top 10, but at the same time we would like to be higher. Well, we've got it all to do with BOTTAS on pole, our teammate in second. It's time for today's Austrian Grand Prix.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 meters above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position and Alexander Albon lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Perez, a Red Bull and Pierre Gasly, Sainz, Stroll, Max Verstappen and Giovinazzi, Norris, Russell, Nicholas Latifi and Sebastian Vettel, De Vries and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So yes, everybody's starting on the soft tire. Of course, this is only a 25% race. As I mentioned earlier, we want 35% in this game. Otherwise, well, so we can have longer races really, but not have the longevity of a 50% race. As far as so it's going to be a one stop from soft to mediums, not soft to hards, as selected there by Red Bull once again. As far lights out, and away we go, and it's a good start, better than the Racing Point and the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. We're going to see if we can go dive it down the outside rather, of both Renaults as we get Magnussen on the exit there, and that's a good start up into P4. We've always had a very good start here, especially also in F1 2020, down the inside now to turn 3 of Lewis Hamilton, and that's a great start, up 8 places already, sorry 7 places up into P3, and we're already going very fast, jumping to lap 4. We set a purple first sector. We're the only person that can really match Bottas, and really it's goodbye Alex Albon, because we're going to dive it down the inside and go up into what is now P2 with that, and that's going to allow Hamilton to have a go at Albon. This is after our overtake, and Hamilton's going to go down the inside into the end of the middle sector, and that's a great move for the soon to be what is 7-time world champion, but he hasn't won in this career mode of ours actually, so he's still a 6-time world champion. This is Ricciardo now is getting involved with Magnussen and Albon. Ricciardo has done a beautiful move round the outside of both of them, and Ricciardo's up to P4. Hamilton, have a look at that, and all of those are fighting. He had a look at us into turn 1. We closed the door on Hamilton, and that's going to allow all of this lot, like Ricciardo and Magnussen, has the better run of Ricciardo and Hamilton, and they're going to go 3 wide up into turn 3. Can Albon as well get involved as well? Magnussen locks up. Hamilton is on the outside. Magnussen loses momentum, and Ricciardo ultimately is the one that gets Hamilton in the end. Is up into P3 as Bottas now moves away. I'm afraid that his version 4.0 is, I don't know, he's 100 rated, I reckon, in this career mode of ours. He's already won season 1 as the Red Bull let's just say the Red Bull mess has continued, because Albon has once again double sacked like we did in France, although that was slightly different because we had we were going from intermediates to the dry tyres, but still double stacking, and that's gonna, you can see as we watch ourselves now getting involved with Lando Norris and Nick De Vries and the Haas. We dive it down the inside of Norris, and that allows De Vries to get back in front of our fellow Brit, although McLaren haven't really had a great season so far. They seem to have the performance, but the car just doesn't really want to work. As we're looking at Leclerc now, who's closing in on Albon, as Hamilton now is starting to come back at Ricciardo and Magnussen. He's down the inside of Magnussen, but Magnussen, of course, being K-Mag as usual, forces him out once again and retains the P4, and Hamilton has another go on a couple of laps later down into turn 3 as you're watching now, and Magnussen once again gets the better line, and this time they're going so slowly that they've allowed Perez and Albon and Leclerc to all catch up, and Albon has done them both and is round the outside of Magnussen, and Hamilton's lost 2 positions. As we jump now to the final lap, Esteban Ocon, well, if we do move to Renault is one of the options. I mean, he's not had great reliability. I don't know if that's Ocon's AI or not, but for us, Bottas was just so OP, even on the hard tyres. I was like having to go rich mix and overtake, and I could still not catch him. He was that fast. Yeah, it's disappointing that we couldn't catch Bottas, but I will definitely take P2 in our final race, back on the second step of the podium. But yeah, you can see Bottas with his fastest lap 4/10, and he set that lap on the hard tyres, so I'm trying to not manage the tyre wear on the medium still, and just pushing, and he's still doing that. Albon finished P4, Ricciardo gets his 2nd podium in a row, so Ricciardo is definitely on the move. Renault will definitely not be a bad place to be, as Hamilton loses down to P6, so his championship fight might be definitely closing into the end. Perez P7, Leclerc down to P8, did a good job there to be anywhere near for that Ferrari. You see, Vettel was P18 and only managed to be P14 in the end. Sainz, well, I think Norris was way down with a penalty, so for him, McLaren definitely need to improve, and Gasly gets the final point, really, for AlphaTauri. So this might be a big swing in out of his favour for Magnussen, although there is of course other drivers available like Verstappen as well, who is down at Haas currently. He could come and take our spot back and move back to Red Bull, especially the fact he's pretty much the highest rated driver in that lower half of the grid. And even then, the fact of the matter is he's only actually scored 1 point at the 1.5 seasons that he's actually been with the team. So that's definitely an interesting dynamic. Russell as well could be another driver that moves as well, because there's Alfa Romeo as well with Ocon as well. It's technically being lapped. That's the 90% rule coming in. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship, we're up to P3. We jump Ricciardo and Hamilton down to P5. So this might not be Hamilton's season if he has the inconsistency and not been able to drive that Mercedes where he is. Bearing in mind, Bottas has won 4 races in a row and is now way in front as Leclerc retains P7 ahead of Gasly and Ocon, who haven't been able to maximise the performances of their car. Mercedes are now 17 points in front, despite the fact we got 2 and 4th. We'll see what Renault can do as well, and Ferrari as well, as we move later on into the latter half of the season.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Well, we're leaving them. We always put this was for the fans
How do
to
you
say
think
goodbye.
this team will be feeling after that result?
Where were they again? I don't know where they were.
Thank you
Alfa
for your time.
Romeo, since they had that engine settlement with Ferrari, have really taken a big back thing, because they were on the verge of being outside the top 10 on every race, Russell and Giovinazzi, and now they're just absolutely nowhere in the race.
We can try and renegotiate for a better deal with our current team, or approach someone else.
We'll be approaching somebody else. We'll find that out in the next episode, once my computer has finished downloading 1.13, and then we can have some proper transfers. As I say, it should have done it apply, because when I did it the previous time on Saturday, it showed me it should. I don't think it saved the progress, so I'm fingers crossed that what actually happened when I recorded this at the weekend doesn't happen again, but I don't know. But Bottas, he could run away with this now. He's won 4 in races in a row, 5 races this season. Unless he has a really bad race at Britain next time out, I'm afraid that the championship is his. Albon hasn't really been performing, and Ricciardo now is starting to he's had 3 podiums this year, so he's definitely on a man to watch in this season. That's going to be it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for you, see more episodes of the F1 2020 career mode. Until the next video, time, take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.